Hey everyone, how's it going? For today's video, I'm proud to present an up-close and personal, in-depth look and drive of the all-new 2015 Audi Q3 Quattro. So this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the Q3. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data, take a thorough road test, and show you many of the unique aspects of both the interior as well as exterior. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up. Let her run. Standard equipment on the Q3 is a remote smart key access system so you can lock and unlock the vehicle via the touch sensors on all 4 door handles. Just keep the key fob in your pocket and tap the little square portion here to lock. The vehicle will chime once, then after waiting a second, go ahead and grab the handle. There's a touch sensor located behind. It automatically unlocks the vehicle. This exterior color is known as Monsoon Great Metallic, featuring an all-black leather interior with plenty of aluminum trim found throughout. In order to start, just make sure you have the key fob with you, then put your foot on the brake, and hit the console mounted button to go. The Q3 features electromechanical rack and pinion steering with speed proportional power assistance. It has a 16.4:1 ratio and a 38.7 foot turning radius. It's all routed through a 3-spoke leather-wrapped steering wheel with split-spoke design down below, finished in satin silver brightwork and high-gloss black trim. The detailing on the steering wheel really is quite nice. I like it overall. It's very clean and simple. The standard gearbox is a 6-speed Tiptronic automatic transmission with manual shifting by the selector below or via the steering wheel paddle shifters if you opt for the available sport package. The gear selector and center console is decorated by genuine aluminum trim. With the optional Quattro all-wheel drive system, torque is continuously varied between the front and rear axles through a hydraulic multi-plate clutch. During normal driving, the Q3 primarily acts in front-wheel drive, but under extreme circumstances up to 100% of the torque can be sent to one of the 2 axles. We'll talk more about how Quattro benefits vehicle dynamics in addition to all-weather convenience later on during the drive segment. Opting for the Sport package also gets you Audi Drive Select with 3 driver-adjustable settings: Comfort, Dynamic, and Auto. It alters the steering and throttle response. In Dynamic, the throttle is more responsive and the steering firms up. Comfort is obviously the opposite, while Auto is the default setting and adapts to your driving style and road surface. Pulling the selector into S mode holds the gears longer to keep the vehicle on its power band. So let's go ahead and flip on the automatic LED accented high intensity discharge headlamps, front and rear fog lamps, as well as the hazards. All 4 windows are fully automatic. And we'll go ahead and check out the exterior. The Q3 represents Audi's latest compact luxury crossover for the 2015 model year, designed to primarily compete against the Mercedes-Benz GLA and the BMW X1, amongst other offerings such as the Buick Encore, Mini Cooper Countryman, and perhaps even the Lexus NX200T. While it's been available in the European markets for the past few years, with the success of this relatively niche market, the Q3 rightly takes its place below the Q5 and Q7, offering a high-quality, well-equipped urban runner at a more accessible price point. The Q3 shares its basic layout with the Volkswagen Tiguan, such as powertrain and wheelbase, with the Audi benefiting from more advanced build techniques and lightweight materials in its chassis. It's available in two trim levels, Premium Plus as seen here, and Prestige, as well as two drivetrains, front-wheel drive and Quattro all-wheel drive. Compared to the Q5, the Q3 is 10 inches shorter in overall length, 2.7 inches narrower, and 2.4 inches shorter in height. Despite its smaller dimensions, it hasn't lost any of its larger brother's handsome looks. The coupe-like roofline rakes down sharply at the D-pillars, which does impede on cargo space a bit, but no more than any others in the segment. Audi's relatively understated styling language may not appear as flashy or bold as some of the competition, but in my eyes that design language is what really gives the Q3 somewhat of a styling edge. For one, full high-quality paint finish comes standard. There's no flat black plastic anywhere aside from the fog light surrounds in the front fascia. Prominent horizontal styling elements and wraparound lighting makes the Q3 fit in well with its larger brethren while giving it the illusion that it's wider than it really is. Audi's signature single-frame grille dominates the front with angled upper corners, high-gloss black finish, and subtle chrome detailing. Rugged styling elements across the rocker panels give it an off-road vibe. The tailgate features an integrated spoiler up top. Xenon headlamps and LED tail lamps come standard to provide proper, modern illumination along with Audi's LED daytime running lights. The Q3 takes advantage of added weight savings by using aluminum to make up the hood, wraparound tailgate, and various suspension components. The hood and tailgate weigh just 19.4 and 23.8 pounds respectively, which is about half the weight of traditional steel structures. The body shell also incorporates high-strength steel for added weight savings and better occupant protection. Key areas include the A and B pillars, including the upper frame and central tunnel. All in all, it weighs about 100 pounds less than a comparable Volkswagen Tiguan, which should make it feel somewhat a bit more dynamic on the road as well. As we'll talk about during the drive portion later in the video, the Q3 offers sporty and dynamic road manners. Its small size yields great maneuverability while the powertrain delivers smooth acceleration and quiet operation for daily use. 18-inch alloy wheels come standard on the Q3, but featured here is a sweet set of larger and wider 19 by 8.5-inch 5 double-spoke off-road design alloys, wrapped in 255/40 all-season Continental tires, able to hold nearly 0.9 G of lateral acceleration. A couple other wheel and tire packages are also available as added accessories. As far as the brakes, the Q3 features 12.6-inch internally ventilated front discs, while 11.1-inch solid discs bring up the rear. I estimate the 60-0 braking distance to be less than 115 feet. The suspension is fully independent, consisting of McPherson struts in front with lower A-arms and stabilizer bar, and a 4-link rear suspension with separate springs and shocks. An aerodynamically designed underbody incorporates felt covers to reduce wind resistance and provide added insulation for a quieter interior. Out back, dual chrome exhaust tips come standard. Overall length is 172.6 inches with a width of 79.5 inches and a height of 62.6 inches, riding on a 102.5-inch wheelbase. Total curb weight for the front-wheel drive is 3,494 pounds, while the Quattro rings in at 3,682 pounds. So let's go ahead and pop the hood. At this time, the Q3 is only available with a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder with direct fuel injection, 4 valves per cylinder, and double overhead cams. The transverse mounted engine features a cast iron block, an aluminum cylinder head, and a compression ratio of 9.6 to 1. It develops 200 horsepower between 5,100 and 6,000 RPM, and 207 pound-feet of torque between 1,700 and 5,000 RPM. With a maximum boost of 10.15 psi, this translates to 0 to 60 times around 7.8 seconds for the front-wheel drive Q3 and 8.2 seconds for the Quattro. Top speed is limited to 130 miles an hour. As far as overall fuel economy, the Q3 is certified as an ultra-low emissions vehicle and recommends premium fuel, carried within a 16.9-gallon tank. EPA estimates between the front-wheel drive and Quattro are practically identical. Both retain an average of 23 miles to a gallon with ranges of 20 miles to a gallon in the city and 29 on the highway for front-wheel drive. Quattro models are rated at 20 in the city and 28 miles to a gallon on the highway. As one would expect from Audi, the Q3 boasts a very well-appointed and sporty interior, one that implements a variety of premium materials from genuine aluminum trim found throughout to soft-touch surfaces across the doors, dash, and essential touch points. It also benefits from a generous amount of standard features and a surprising amount of interior space despite its small size. Like I said, the majority of the door panels are wrapped in soft touch material except for the inner door pocket. They also contain all of your vital power accessories, including your locks, windows, mirrors, and trunk release down below. Standard on all Q3 models are 12-way power adjustable driver and passenger side seating with 3-stage heating. The headrests are fully adjustable and they're pretty comfortable overall. Your simple power controls are located on each edge and have 4-way power lumbar adjustment. Moderate amount of lateral support up top and down below keep you a little bit planted, but optional sport seats give a little bit of extra definition and dynamism to the vehicle. Leather seating surfaces are standard on all Q3 models, and especially across the middle portion they continue that sporty theme even in their standard form. The seat belts are also adjustable. Down below you have a prominent dead pedal for extra long-term comfort, and a manual tilting telescoping steering wheel comes as standard equipment. I absolutely love the dash styling, how it curves around and seamlessly blends into the doors, also incorporating the soft touch material, satin aluminum trim, and a very simple minimalistic layout. You have a light gray headliner as well as standard LED interior illumination and a full panoramic sunroof.
So let's go ahead and see if she sounds. Go ahead and shut her up. Nice solid panels.
What's going on, guys? So obviously today we're driving the all-new Audi Q3, which is the brand's newest compact crossover. I've been pretty surprised over the week that I've been driving this. It's actually a really fun vehicle, and you don't really skimp on practicality that much, or at least as much as you would expect. It's not nearly as big as a Q5, for example. You don't have as much cargo space in the back. I mean, sure, you can fold the seats down, but it's limited with especially the raked roofline out back, that kind of fastback type profile. But just like you'll see a little bit later in the video, the back seat room is quite tremendous. I mean, a lot more than I expected. I mean, relatively speaking, it's a lot. But, I mean, being an Audi, it definitely feels German. It feels very tight and well dialed in. There's not a whole lot of roll in the corners. I mean, it's a crossover, so it's not going to be a sports sedan or some sort of, corner carver or anything like that, but the suspension is firm enough that it really holds itself well through the corners, but it's a pretty smooth and compliant vehicle, especially daily driving around town and everything. So if you're looking for something that's very easily maneuverable and not cumbersome or anything like that, and a little bit more practical than your typical sedan, this is definitely something you might want to look into. Now, the Q3 starts in the low $30,000 range. This one, which is the Premium Plus with a bunch of additional extras, is around $39,000 or so. And you can compare that with like the Mercedes GLA, the BMW X1, and other similarly sized vehicles. One of the hallmarks of the Q3, I believe, is the Quattro all-wheel drive system. I've never driven the front-wheel drive version, but comparing other front-wheel drive versus all-wheel drive crossovers, all-wheel drive, at least in this particular type of vehicle, makes it a whole lot more of an engaging and spirited vehicle, especially when going around the corners. Not that the front-wheel drive system is bad at all. I'm sure it drives and rides just as good, but you get the added practicality, and it really makes the vehicle drive a lot better. It's worth spending the extra money just to go ahead and get the all-wheel drive system, because the vehicle's just always going to be planted all the time. You're not going to have to worry about wheel hop or slippage or anything like that, especially if you tend to have a lead footer. So you're going to really appreciate the all-wheel drive system ability to really put that power to all four wheels. So what I mean by putting power to the ground, if you're sitting at a standstill with your foot on the brake and mash the accelerator, full throttle, takes off pretty strong, no wheel spin at all. I like that a lot. Feels very stable. One thing I think the Q3 could improve on is overall performance. I mean, 200 horsepower out of a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder may not sound like a lot, it's definitely adequate, but compared to the BMW X1 that puts out 240 horsepower with an 8-speed automatic, and the Mercedes GLA that puts out 207 horsepower with a 7-speed dual-clutch automated manual, the Q3 definitely doesn't have quite the performance edge necessarily, but it does deliver the power quite smooth. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the way the Q3 drives at all. I believe each of the 3 vehicles brings their own strengths and weaknesses to the table. The Q3 definitely brings a lot of standard convenience features and luxury touches that are optional in the other models. I mean, when you really think about it, people aren't going to buy a crossover based on its performance advantages a lot of times unless you're going for a GLA 45 AMG or something like super high performance. So if you can shave a little bit off your 0 to 60 time, despite the small performance advantage the other competitors may have, I believe the Q3 is still a better overall value when looking at the vehicle as a whole. This Q3 features Audi's standard 10-speaker 180-watt audio system with a 6-channel amplifier and subwoofer mounted in the rear tire well. Optional is a premium Bose Centerpoint surround sound system with active noise cancelling, 10-channel digital sound processing, 14 speakers, and 465 watts. This example's media and entertainment is routed through the available Audi MMI infotainment system with 7-inch high-res display. The A and B pillars are wrapped in soft cloth material, incorporate side curtain airbags, grip handles up top, and a vinyl padded mirror, incorporating an LED illuminated vanity mirror. Auto dimming rear view mirror, and in the top stack you have your LED interior illumination, reading lamps, hands-free Bluetooth microphones, as well as activation of the automatic sunroof and sunshade. Like I said, the sunroof is fully automatic. A wind deflector automatically pops up, and the glass slides over the rear portion. And of course, your sunshade. It still casts a nice glow of light throughout the interior without being so bright. The Audi MMI system is a pretty easy setup to get used to, especially if you've never used it before. The system in the Q3 doesn't incorporate a touchpad or anything like that as found in some of the higher priced Audi models, so it's a little bit simpler, a little bit less complex I guess, but it still offers a lot of the great functionality that you would find in those systems. This is the main menu right here. All of your different options are located in that circular pattern. You can adjust the clock, which shows up down there, and set up the MMI system. In the middle is your central controller setup. You have an in-dash CD player, 2 SD card inputs, shortcut keys for everything that you would find on the main menu screen, which otherwise you would access from right here, and 4 quadrant buttons, a rotary wheel here, your volume knob here, and you can also press enter when you found an appropriate selection and hit back when you want to go back. The rotary knobs actually have a knurled finish on them, so it's a little bit of a higher quality grippy surface, which is nice to the touch. Using the quadrant buttons, like I said earlier, there's 2 in the top that you can immediately use from the main screen. Top left is time adjustment, top right is setup MMI. Using the rotary wheel, you can then scroll through all of the main menu features. Tone, for all of your various audio adjustments. The different quadrant functions, for system sound, navigation sound, telephone. Radio, media, which we're currently on right now. You can utilize an iPod, the various functions down below, import media to the vehicle's hard drive, change the source, and your settings. Navigation, nice, easy to see, high-res display, destination input, bottom left, settings, info, real-time traffic updates, and route information in the top left. Info is a shortcut key to your real-time traffic updates. Bluetooth telephone, and car, where you have vehicle settings, driver assist, and service. Continuing down the center stack, you have your traction control and hill descent control off to the far right, and in the very bottom, kind of a unique place to put it, takes a little bit to get used to, but it's your dual zone electronic automatic climate control. The two main silver accented dials correspond to your temperature and have a nice click to them. Fan speed in the middle, different zones, front and rear defrost, auto recycling, as well as 3-stage heated seats to either side just for the front occupants. Down at the very bottom you have a small storage cubby just big enough to put a cell phone or something like that, as well as the engine start button off to the left. On our way back, the aluminum accented center console, 2 cup holders, electronic parking brake, and a 12-volt power outlet. In the very back, you have a center console that you can actually raise partially, help make it a little bit more comfortable if you want a little bit of an incline, and has a modest amount of space. Not to mention iPod input, all lined in felt. As far as the steering wheel, on the right hand side you have your radio volume, navigation prompts, as well as hands-free voice commands. Help.
Many functions of the MMI can be operated quickly and easily with voice recognition. Voice recognition can be interrupted at any time by pressing the talk button on the steering wheel to say a command. You can say help or cancel at any time. Press and hold the talk button to cancel voice recognition. Please choose one of the following topics for further information.
Cancel.
Cancel.
This little star button is actually customizable through the MMI system. If you go into the car screen, vehicle settings, steering wheel button, you could choose between these 4 different functions. Right now it's navigation map display day and night. You can also program it to do those settings, so whenever you hit that steering wheel button, it will now do voice guidance on and off. If we want to go back to that, just hit it. So whichever the check mark is on is the function that it's currently set to. This corresponds to driver information located in that digital display there. The top button goes between vehicle information, audio, telephone, navigation. You have a rotary wheel right here to go between different submenus. If we're in the audio screen, right now we're utilizing a CD. We can scroll through the tracks, and when we find one we like or make an appropriate selection, just push down for OK. This also brings up some extra menus, such as while on the audio screen you can change the source, different car functions, and more. I also really like the gauges. Nice, clean, and simple, accented by satin bright work with white numbers and red needles. Intermittent wipers to the right, cruise control in the very bottom, as well as your high beams, parking lights, and turn signals. Alrighty. We'll go ahead and shut her down. And check out the back seat. Backseat passengers get treated with a similar level of comfort and refinement like you would find in the front. For one, the door panels incorporate the same amount of padded material like you would find in the front, up top and down below. The only place that it isn't, just like the front, is the storage well down below, your power window switch, and genuine aluminum trim. A large bench seat easily accommodates 5 people, with 3 adjustable headrests. Not to mention storage pockets on the back of the seats. The thing that really surprised me about this vehicle was how much rear seat room there actually was. I mean, the Q3 obviously is the smallest crossover in the Audi lineup now, so I just assumed it was going to be a pretty cramped interior. I mean, the front is definitely fine, but with vehicles like this where you have the dramatic slope off in the back, it typically sacrifices a couple inches or so of headspace. But that's simply not the case here. I mean, the slope doesn't even start until like this quarter window right here, so everything within the vital passenger compartment area is totally preserved, which is very nice. So when you climb on in, I'm 5'10". Climbing in is not hard at all. There's no big step up height or anything like that. You can definitely tell you're sitting higher off the ground, but I mean, it's very, very accommodating for a wide range of individuals, I think. When you close the door, you have the same nice solid thud you would expect out of an Audi vehicle. And even though this vehicle has a full panoramic sunroof, the headliner is actually cut out pretty significantly back here, allowing a whole lot more headroom. I mean, when I'm sitting in a normal position, comfortable seating position for myself up front, I probably have 2.5 inches of headroom and maybe 3.5, 4 inches of leg space, which for a vehicle like this is nice. You have 2 air registers down below here that are adjustable, so the backseat passengers can definitely get some added ventilation, which is a nice thing to have in this size vehicle and segment. Down below you have a 12-volt power outlet as well as a button to lock the doors. In the middle, I can also appreciate the added armrest, which is not always included. It is padded. I wish it was a little bit more, had a little bit more padding on it. It still has a little bit of a harder material inside, which you kind of get over, but you can't really lean into and expect to get a whole lot of cushion out of it. Inside, nice little center console, lined in felt. There's also 2 cup holders. If you want, you can actually fold this entire midsection out to create a trunk pass-through. Like I said, you can sit 3 people back here. There are 3 adjustable headrests. There's a little bit of a drivetrain hump right here, but it's not too bad. It's easily straddled to either side. Overall comfort is pretty good too. I mean, the bottom cushion has nice padding to it, and the top actually holds you in quite a bit. It kind of dips in the middle right here, so your upper back feels nice and cradled. So overall, especially with these soft padded headrests, it can be a very comfortable vehicle to travel in. Up top, you have grip handles, coat hooks, as well as coat hooks on the B-pillar. The quarter windows in the back definitely help add to better visibility, and you have 2 LED reading lamps. So that's pretty much it for the back seat. Let's go ahead and check out the rest of the vehicle.
As seen here, the Q3 can be had with the power liftgate for added convenience. It's a $400 option. Once inside, there's 16.7 cubic feet of cargo space, which is about the same as a mid-size sedan. The benefit with crossovers, though, like hatchbacks, is greater height to stow taller items. Folding down the rear seat greatly expands overall hauling ability, nearly tripling the cargo area to 48.2 cubic feet. It's all lined in soft carpeting, there's plenty of cargo tie-downs, dual illumination, as well as a power outlet and storage net off to the left-hand side. Underneath the cargo floor is your temporary spare tire, jacking equipment, as well as the location for the rear-mounted subwoofer. Folding down the rear seat also gives you the ability to stow longer items up to the front seats.
Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the all-new 2015 Audi Q3. Be sure to stay tuned next time. There's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.